Namaste. We are coming back to the third and final module of chapter number 2. And today we will have the further discussion or a few more aspects about the remaining part of this chapter. Now, number 1 is the deciphering inscription. Some of the areas we have already discussed. Now, let us see that these inscriptions, how it was deciphered. The first one is the Brahmi. As I have already mentioned that there are two scripts, the Brahmi and the Kharosthi script, how it was deciphered. Now, most of the modern Indian languages are derived from the Brahmi and the script used in Ashokan inscriptions. So we must understand that our present type of modern languages, which have been derived from the Brahmi script only. From late 18th century, the European scholars, they were with the help of the Indian Pandits who are very much familiar with the Bengali and Devanagari script, they compared their letters with the old specimen to understand about that. It was only after the decades of painstaking investigation by several epigraphists that James Prince was able to decipher the Ashokan Brahmi script in the year 1838. Now, another one is what I said, the Kharosthi script. The decipherment of Kharosthi used in inscriptions in the northwestern part of India, which is totally different. Here, the coins of Indo-Greek kings, that is from 2nd to 1st century BC, helped the matters. These coins contain the names of the kings written in Greek and Kharosthi script. So what they did, the European scholars who could read the Greek compared this with the letters of these coins. And with the principle identifying the language of the Kharosthi inscription as Prakriti, it became possible to read longer inscriptions as well as. Now, but one thing we have to understand that we are very easily understanding this concept given by these people. Simply we can say that. But what are the problems faced by them while deciphering these inscriptions? That is also very important. So one question you can expect for the examination, what are the limitations in deciphering the inscriptional evidences? Number 1, the letters found in the script were very faintly engraved. That means not clear because very old. The inscriptions may be damaged or sometimes the letters may be missing. Not always it is easy to sure about the exact meaning of the word used in the inscription. All inscriptions have not been deciphered so far, published or translated. Many inscriptions have not been survived also, and only a fraction is available at moment. Only politically or economically significant was necessarily recorded in inscription. The other aspects which are not known to us, because I said, the ordinary people were not in the habit of keeping their documents. The epigraphy alone does not provide a full of understanding of political and economic history. That will not give. So they have to depend on other areas also. The scholars in the late 19th and early 20th century were primarily interested in the histories of the king only. They were interested in learning the king's history only because that document only was available. The common man's history was not available at that time. So these kind of difficulties were mostly confronted by these scholars while deciphering the inscriptional evidences. Now, a few more information. Almost all area of the chapter has been covered. A few more information for you. Number 1, Manusmriti, one term will come. What is that? It is the best known legal text of early India which was written in Sanskrit. Very important. Number 2, Harsha Charita. What is that? It is the biography of a king of Kanauj whose name is called Harshavardhana. It was written by his court poet Banabhatta. It is a very important information. Then the new kingdoms of south during 1st century that we have already seen, the Chola, Chera and Pandyas. Then another important one is Samudragupta. He was a well-known ruler of the Gupta Empire, and his information we are getting through the Prayaga Prashasti or Allahabad pillar inscriptions. Now, again we are coming over to the Mauryan Empire. Mauryan Empire, after some time, it was falling down. Why it was falling down? There are certain reasons which is being found out by the historians. Now let us see. One of the most important reasons for the decline and fall of Mauryan Empire was the successors of Ashoka were unpopular and weak, so they could not carry out the stability of the empire. The emergence of new kingdoms in south, as you know that Ashoka's empire was expanding from the north to the extreme south as far as near the Mathura kingdom. But after him, there was no sufficient or the successful ruler to carry out the stability of this administration. Then another one is the external attack from the frontier. The foreigners, they attacked. And the last one, the empire could not control over the whole in North India. That is another important limitation. Here one more terms which comes to you as I have already mentioned. What is land grants? It was one of the important system which prevailed during the ancient time. The land which was donated to the religious institution or to the Brahmins is called as a land grants. It was only permissible for these areas. These informations are mostly recorded in stones and copper plates. From there only the historian they get the information. Some historians say that these lands were granted for the extension of agriculture also. But some say that these lands were the indicative of weakening the political power of the king, because the king's land was naturally was going to the hands of the other people and they emerging as a new power. But only the details about the rich landowners are available for the information. Here also the ordinary men's detail are not available. Now we are coming over to the final part of the chapter. The content area is over. In the content, we have seen that there are some important Mahajanapadas, some kingdoms which were ruling in our country from 6th century BC to 6th century AD for a period of 1200 years. And with a special reference to Mauryan Empire and their contribution, their administration, their sources, and the reason for the fall of that empire. Now we are coming over to some map area, that is the final one. There are 3 maps included in this chapter. In these 3 maps, the important places that we have to understand. The places in the sense means all the places it may not be sometime possible for you to keep in your mind. As much as possible, you please concentrate on these places, and definitely 1 or 2 places from this section will be asked for locating on the map in the form of either location or the identification. Now let us see, and I will use my cursor to some important places that you give more important. At the same time, it doesn't mean that others are not important. Please, if possible, you go through that. There are 3 maps. Number 1. Now, this is map number 1. We can see that while coming over to this map, we can see that in the left hand side at the top northwestern part, 2 places, the Gandhara and Takshila. These 2 are connected with the Kushana Empire, that don't forget. Then while coming over to this side, you can see that Indraprastha. Now for Delhi, we use this word Indraprastha. And while coming down, we can see Magadha. That is very important. Magadha with its capital, the earlier capital, Rajagir. Very important. Then Anga, Vanga, Malla. These are the Janapadas. You may please go through that. Then Kashi is very important because we are very familiar. And Koshala above that, very important. Shravasti, another important place. Kuru, Panchala. Very important nearby place, it very easily you can understand. Then Mathura in UP, that is very important. Mathura in UP. Then Ujjaini, very important. Ujjaini, then Avanti and Matsya. If these places, if you are able to keep it in your mind or record in your mind, it will be definitely helping you to locate in the map in the form of location or identification. Now we are coming over to map number 2. In the map number 2, we are coming with a special reference to the Ashoka's inscription. As you know that for learning this chapter, we are getting most of the information through Ashoka's edicts as well as the information only. Now with the red mark, blue mark, and also that violet mark, it is given major rock edicts, minor rock edicts, and a pillar inscription. And here also that plenty of places are there. I don't think it is possible to by heart everything, but even then some of the places are very, very important. At the same time, the previous map place will be repeated. Now let us see that some important place I would like to bring your attention. Takshila, don't forget. Then Kandahar, very important. It is in Afghanistan. Now when you are coming over here, you can see just right hand side of Delhi that Meerut, very important. Meerut is very important for what is called the location that will come again and again. Then what we can see, the Sarnath, very important. Don't forget Sarnath. Then Rampurva in the northeastern part, Rampurva. Then Pataliputra, that is the second capital of the Mauryan Empire. Sahasram, very important. Then Sanchi, as I told, I think. Then the Kalinga is very, very important. This place, it will be very important. Then the Sanati, Sopara, Girmar. These red marked places are very, very important. The other places, as much as possible, depends on its important part. I said, you may please go through that. Now, map number 3. In map number 3, you are getting some important kingdoms and towns which emerged in all over the country. Now, here again, I would like to bring your attention for Kushana. The Takshila is very important. Kanauj, that is important. Shravati, Madura, important. The Guptas, Varanasi, very important. Kaushambi, also very important. Then the Vaishali, Pataliputra, Rajagir, very, very important. Then the Vidisha, Ujjaini, as I told. Then some other important kingdom, the Shaga kingdom, Vakadaga kingdom, Shadavahana kingdom, very, very important. Don't forget about that. Then also you may please see Chola, the Cheras and Pandyas. The Pandyas in present what is called Tamil Nadu, the Cheras in present Kerala, and Chola above that it can be seen. So these places also you may please go through that so that you will get a correct idea about that. Thereafter, my dear children, please go for reading the textbook thoroughly. You will be able to understand about that. Once again, I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.